You're inspirational. Everything about you is amazing. Not afraid to step out, girl. You're trailblazing. Dedicated, hardworking woman. You're not playing. God first on top, non-stop. You keep praising and praying. You're inspirational. You're inspirational. You're inspirational.
Welcome back to Your Inspirational. I'm your host for the Get Started event. Today I have with me the lovely Shari Seawright. How you doing, girl?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to have her here. So she is an entrepreneur. She has multiple businesses, which she will talk about each one. She's also going to talk about being a mother. Also about how she was raised, which is an awesome story. Learning how to give back. And also she's going to talk about beauty and tips on self-care and just being confident in your own skin. So right now she's going to talk about business. I love hearing about businesses and how women run their business because I'm trying to learn. So tell us about how you got into some of the things that you are into.
Okay. So it's an ongoing process. So it's a never-ending learning process.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to use the word process twice.
It's okay.
So my primary business is transportation.
Okay.
We provide transportation. We started out primarily providing transportation to people 50 and older in Jefferson, in Shelby County. However, that has expanded, and it's just that so many people need our services. Mainly people. There's a lot of people that are under 50 that go to dialysis. So, that's normal. That's how we started transitioning into pretty much all ages. Everyone is adults though, so anyone 19 and older. But so I got into that about 15, 16 years ago.
Wow.
I got a job working for one of the biggest brokers in the country in their call center. And so within 6 months, I was promoted to quality assurance representative. I was the youngest and the only Black person in that position in the whole company. Yes. And so it was just, at that time, I was just trying to keep food on the table, keep my bills paid, but I did like it. But it was a real stressful job, and that was just my introduction into the industry. I came down here, I moved to Alabama in 2017, and I got a job. I took off maybe a year from working. That was my plan. And then I got a job working for a local agency, and pretty much I was a community health worker where I again found myself in the position of coordinating transportation for Medicaid recipients to their doctor's appointments. But I quickly realized that here in Birmingham, in DC where I'm from, we have trains, buses. You can get anywhere you need to go pretty much 24 hours a day. That's not the case here in Birmingham. And so when I'm looking for transportation, a lot of people, it wasn't a lot of providers. You know, a lot of people don't want to deal with insurance. A lot of people, specifically with Medicaid insurance. And so I found myself, these were people that had to go to chemo and, follow-up appointments after being diagnosed in the hospital. And so I found myself telling people, I wish I could put you in my car, and take you if I could, then I would, And then I got to thinking and I was like, you know what? I think I have enough information to actually start this myself. So that's how I got into that. It was more of a moral thing because even though that was my job was not to coordinate transportation, but it took up 90% of my job because the need was so great. And I didn't feel like I was helping anybody. Like I was going to work, I was doing my 8 hours, sometimes overtime. I'm out in the field, I'm talking to these people. I'm hearing what their issue is, but there were just restrictions on what I could do in that role. I could not, I would just go home and say, I can't. I feel like I'm not doing anything. So I feel like starting that business, I'm more able to help people in the way that I am. And then, that just goes into, again, like you mentioned, which we'll get into, is just how I was raised, is that I was just raised to help people and be there, right? Exactly. And support people in a way that they, the country is designed. A lot of systems that are in this country is just designed to just keep people in a cycle. There's no really improvement. There's not really a plan. It's just, this is, it looks good on paper. So that's what I did. I have cleaning. I have a cleaning company that I've been doing cleaning on and off for about 20 years really. Okay. It was just always a part-time thing. If I ever needed some extra money, I always know something needs to be cleaned. Somebody's needing my services. And so that's always just been my go-to part-time job. Okay. My father started a cleaning business over 20 years ago. So at one point I was supervising his sites. Okay. But again, I never really looked at it long term. Yeah. But when I came down here again, I said, okay, I was in the process of trying to buy a house and I needed some additional income. So I went back to cleaning. I found me a cleaning job. And through that job, I guess I was doing such a good job that the owner decided to give me my first contract. Okay. Where it was a doctor's office. And I had that for a few months until, the contract ended and things like that. So that was my first experience. And I was like, okay, I can do this, but still, it wasn't anything permanent. I just was like, okay, I know that I can do this. Cleaning is very therapeutic to me, actually, especially when I'm working on my own. It's quiet. I'm in there. I can move from room to room, and I just move through it. Again, I found myself looking for additional income. I want to say last year. Applied for a cleaning job. I did that for a few months. Like I said, it's always temporary. Yeah. And I got a call late last year because they had more contracts. Okay. And they were like, who can we get that's dependable, does a good job, And so they reached out to me and gave me another contract. So now I've turned those contracts into actually a cleaning business that I do. So now we've added carpet cleaning, we've added pressure washing, and residential and commercial cleaning. Okay. Yeah. So that's that. And then the third thing that I do is I do business consulting. Okay. And so I started out helping other people start their own transportation companies. Okay. But I feel like, again, because I felt like I really wasn't helping anybody, I was telling you how to do it, but there's more to it than just starting a business. Yeah. Okay. It's several steps. You got to know how to get your customers. Yeah. You have to know how to maintain your customers. You have to know how to interact with people. A lot of people don't have that business etiquette. And so my consulting, Blue Diamond Consulting, it focuses on business etiquette, strategic networking, and effective marketing. Okay. Those three things. I started my business late 2019. COVID, of course, happened. So I did not get my first customer, my first actual ride until late 2020. Okay. So that was a whole year that I had to go through. It was still good. But after I got that first ride, that was October 2020. I did not have another ride until January 21. And so it's fine because everything happens in its own time. Yeah. But overhead still got to be paid. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. So at the beginning of the year, I said, okay, I got to sit down and I got to figure out what am I going to do to bring customers to my business. And so I literally went, I want to say like 30, 60 days, no TV. I took the TV out of my room. And every single thing that I did from my waking moment until I laid my head down at night was focused on my business. Yeah. And so January, I had 2 rides. February, I had 4. March, I had 8. And it just kept growing like that. And then by June, I had my first full week where I could not take any more appointments. Wow. And so I took those processes, everything I did in that 6 months, and I broke it down. Yeah. And then, so that's what I consult. Okay. I help people with. Okay. So, again, everything is centered around helping people. Yeah. Even the cleaning. Yeah. I'm solving a problem. Yeah. Business owners don't have time to clean. Mothers don't have time to clean. Yeah. Everything is about convenience. If you just need your carpet done or you need a pressure washing real quick, you can call, and the name of that is Seawright Cleaning Solutions, because we're offering solutions. And then it's a play on my last name because my last name is Seawright. Yeah. Seawright. But the cleaning company is CSEE Right, RIGHT. So you will see that you made the right decision.
Yeah.
So that is a rundown of what I have going on right now, and I'm excited about it all.
So how do you do all this? Like, you must have no children, or like what?
I have one child.
Okay.
But and he's not even a child.
Okay.
He's 21.
Okay.
He's my only one.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes to school in South Carolina.
Okay.
Now, when he was little, I've been working since I was 13 years old. If nobody else knows anything about me, they know that I'm going to work.
Yeah.
Okay. So, being a single mother, there were times where I know at one point I was working 3 jobs.
Yeah.
To take care of us because other situations that came into play. Mm-hmm. But I always prioritized. Mm-hmm. I always made sure that I was there when he had anything at school. Mm-hmm. If he had anything going on in church, that I was there to cook for him. I always joke, my son just started when he went to school, when he went to college, started eating burgers and pizzas and everything. And he would be little and I would take him to birthday parties and they would have pizza, the basic, pizza and hot dogs and burgers. He would eat hot dogs, but I would have to feed him sometimes before the parties because he did not eat those things. Yeah. Not on purpose, but because I always made sure that I made like breakfast before he went to school. Grits, eggs, bacon. Like I even was making his own little what he like, the bacon, egg, and cheese biscuits. Mm-hmm. I had the biscuits, I had the bacon. I mean, I was in the kitchen, making this for him before he went to school. So he's very, I was very domestic in that way. Yeah. And so that's what he was used to. When I used to have his birthday parties, he would want barbecue chicken, rice, streaming. He would actually want meals. And so, but because that's what he was used to. Yeah. So now that he's away at college and he still wants to cook, he can cook some things. He does pretty good. But we trying to get him because he's like, I'm tired of eating now, because that's just not what he's used to. Yeah. So. But yeah, so he always had that balance. I was always there, and I would work during the day. And then for the bulk of his life, I worked for the federal government. Okay. So it was a 9 to 5 type thing. If I did anything after work, it was maybe go to the gym or anything. But I always made sure that I was home in the evening, with him. So thank God I only had one. I don't know what people do with more than one child. Like, hats off. I always say, hats off, especially when they're little. You have like little children, like 5, 4, and 3, and hats off.
And so, were you? Did you choose to not be with his father, or like what happened?
Well, I met his father in South Carolina. That's where I went to school. And so, about midway through my pregnancy, I went home to visit. And I just never went back to South Carolina. Okay. I just decided, I guess the hormones and the pregnancy, I was at the train station with my mother getting ready to get on the train to go back to South Carolina. And I just remember I just started crying. I was like, I don't want to go back. Okay. So, and I even had, all I had was my stuff that I packed to go home and visit. And I didn't go back. So his dad, as he got older, I would send him down during the summertime with his dad's side of the family. Yeah. And then my family is in South Carolina also. Okay. So during that time that he was in South Carolina, he would spend time with his dad, So now that was part of the reason why he decided to go to school in South Carolina is to be closer to his dad's side of the family because he didn't get that opportunity growing up. Okay. But even still, I was in long-term relationships. That's one thing that I was sure of is that I did not have him around multiple people. I dated, but he did not meet people unless I was in a relationship. So I was in one relationship for like 8 years and then the other one for like 10 or 11 years. So it was that family aspect at home. And they did have a hand in well, he was more younger with the first one, but they did have a hand in helping me raise him.
And so why did you didn't choose to marry anyone?
No. Well, in both relationships we were supposed to get married. Okay. We could come back and talk about that whole shenanigans that happened with that, but things don't work out. And so and I'm glad.
Yeah.
Because even though that's what I wanted at the time, what we think we want and what we need is not what we want and what we need.
Yeah.
And so I sit back now and I say, if everything that I wanted to happen would have happened, I would be so miserable right now. I would be, oh my goodness, miserable. Like I would hate my life. I really don't. I can't. I'm so glad that did not work out. You know. But everything that needed to happen, the lessons, the experiences, you know, that I needed to get to where I am today. It happened.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, so those are, and like I said, these were long-term relationships. Yeah. We planned weddings. We bought, you know, we had houses. Yeah. We, you know, all of these things. But that's not the people that I was supposed to be with.
But let me ask you this. So you were planning weddings now. Did you decide to stop before the wedding, or did the other person ask that question? Because I know a lot of women, when they plan weddings and you buy all the stuff, they move forward because they bought all the stuff or spent money. So what made you say, I don't care how we planned everything, this is not it?
Okay. So the first situation, he actually ended up going to prison unexpectedly. Okay. And that was where I was like, okay, yeah, I can't, you know, I can't do this. So that's what ended that relationship. And then the second one, we were literally literally a week before we were to be married. And this was and now I went through the whole process of planning that wedding the first time. I did not want to do that anymore. I was like, let's go to the courthouse. Let's go to the beach. Let's get this paperwork. Let's go to the beach. Let's just have a quick little ceremony and we can go on about our day. You know, we were in the process of buying a house and, you know, everything. But some things were revealed literally a week before. And I was like, yeah, that's not going to work.
And so what was in you? Because some people, they'll still like not listen to what is happening. Like, you know, like you said, something was revealed. Some people won't even take that and stop. They'll keep moving forward and listen to whatever the person says and just like, you know what, we can make it work. I can make him change, or we can, like, you know, do some things to make this relationship.
So I was with him for about 10 years and there was a lot of back and forth. And so this was a time where we were like, okay, I told him, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this. Yeah. If we're not going to do this, I was just at a time in my life where I was just tired. Like, listen, we going to do this, or we're not going to do this. I don't, you know, if you don't want to, it would hurt. But, you know, and he just was like, yeah, you know, this is it. This is, like I said, we were going through the home buying process. We were saving money. We were working together to do these things. How he thought, what was revealed, how he thought that we were going to go through, like it's mind boggling to this day. Like I was having a conversation with someone a couple weeks ago, and even though I'm over what happened, you know, I'm past it. But I was having a conversation with someone, and I was like, it was just amazing to me that what if we did go through getting married? How was he going to? Like, how could he have gone on? Yeah. Just regular, knowing these things and knowing what, you know, like it was going to be revealed regardless. But how long would he have sat there and let it go on, you know, without, you know? And so I also feel like in hindsight, God just creates situations. And really, when you say that we try to ignore the signs and we try to keep pushing, I was ignoring so many signs and red flags and things like that, that when it came down to that, I was just like, okay, God, this is just not going to work. This isn't what's supposed to happen. And at that point, I was at peace with it. Yeah. I learned to be at peace with just how things happen. Yeah. And that was that. Yeah. And literally, when they say God is enough, literally the day after I said, okay, no, you know, and because we're both from DC, so he actually even moved down here, like, to do this. He went home, literally, the day after that, I got $10,000 that I had been waiting on. I mean, waiting months. I mean, I had not even heard anything. It was like no contact. Yeah. I got $10,000 deposited into my account that next morning. Yeah. And I looked at that and I said, yeah, God because move stuff out of the way. If I would have gotten that $10,000, that $10,000 would have went into the wedding, into everything, to buying a house and everything. God did not want me to have that until I got him, and I was at peace. Yeah, with, you know, because when you're going through that and you're going through all that, and you like, oh, but I miss him, and you know, and that's how people end up coming back and things like that. But I was at peace with it that time, you know, and I cried that day because I was just. He thought that I was crying because, oh, you know, it's over. I was crying because I was just really mourning. I was like, okay, this is what I wanted. Yeah. But it's time for me to let it go. Yeah. And so it was just more of a release type thing. Because I'm not a crier. Yeah. I'm not. But when I'm upset and when something is just hitting me, that's when I just, you know, and I just released, you know, from that point on, and I let it go. Yeah. And literally less than 24 hours. And I was like, I got a notification for a deposit. What is this going on now? And I was like, they sent me. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Yeah. And so, so different things just happened. You know, I ignored a lot of things. I put up with a lot of things that I should have been left him alone. But God will continue to make things happen, continue to show things, and because I'm stubborn and I don't listen, and I have to learn the hard way for whatever reason. I'm trying to get out of that. Yeah. But yes, that's what happened. But a lot of times people can't see because of so much sin too. So like, you know, if you're sinning, like you just not really, because you're so focused on what you want. Also, a lot of people think that because they have invested, they're going to get a return later. And it's like, if it's not the right relationship, you're not going to get anything but trouble, misery, and foolishness continuously. Which is all from the devil. And that was the first case. That was the case with the first relationship. Is that we were together for so long. We actually started dating when we were in high school. So we grew and got older together. And I knew the person that he was at his core. Growing up. Yeah. And so all those years I was being patient because I'm like, if he just gets this, if we can just do this, he can get back to the person that I know, that I'm sure to this day that he is at his core. Yeah. But sometimes as women, we have to realize that you got to stop looking at potential, because that potential taking you to hell. And people have gone through things in their lives that we have no control over, and that it just affects them in a way that it doesn't matter what we do. It doesn't matter what kind of good life we present, and you know, that we live. I mean, it was good times. I had good times. I had memories. I wish that I could call and be like, remember this time, you know. I'm not going to say that they did not love me, but they did not love me in the way that I needed to be loved. And due to how I was raised, and you know, the things that I experienced younger in my young life, I did not even know what love was really. You know, I was very materialistic. So if you bought me, you know, we can argue, we can do all this, but if you go out and you buy me some purses or some shoes or some clothes, and we going to concerts and we doing all of this, okay, I'm going to forget about it. And they knew that. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So I had to, you know, again, like I say, after the second relationship, I had to take a step back. Yeah. And I had to say, okay, not really what's wrong for me, but why do I keep choosing this? Why do I end up in these situations? Yeah. And so I had to analyze, and I really had to do the work. I had to start going to therapy, which is a whole nother eye-opening, draining experience, you know, because now you're dealing with your truth. You're getting down to what is going on. Why do I think the way that I think? Why am I attracted to this type of behavior? Why are these people drawn to me? You know, but then again, it's sometimes we don't know. Like for me, I didn't know how to love myself, and especially the way Christ loves us. And then so then you don't know how Christ loves, so that's what
we miss sometimes. So, you got to get into God and really, really learn how He loves. And so you'll be able to receive the love that He has for you from other people. So, like, if they can't love me like Christ loved me, then I just really don't want it. Like, even in friendships, it's the same thing.
Yes, so. Yes, and that's true. And for a long time, I had a good, a very good childhood. As far as the basics of how I was raised. My parents are good people.
Yeah.
But there were some things that affected how I viewed, specifically, I did not want anything to do with the church because of what I had experienced from the church. Most of my bad experiences came from people in the church, being at church. And even, just to keep it real, I felt like my family, the church was my family's family.
Yeah.
And I resented the fact that the church got more attention from my family than I got.
Okay.
And so I did not want to be involved with anything because I felt like, and then I was able to see, so my father is a pastor, so I was able to see a lot of things going on in the church from a different angle than what, so I really didn't even believe a lot of the things that we were told to believe because I'm seeing these people up in the pulpit, but then
it's a different thing.
Different life. Yeah. And it's not matching up for me. And I'm like, how am I supposed to, why would I listen to these people? Why would I be involved in something like this?
So, and like I understand because same thing, but I had to understand, which I want other people to understand, like, you can be church hurt or see different things. But the most important thing is for you to get God for yourself. Like, because some people won't go to church because of things that have happened. Now, I can't let, this person don't like me or how they look at me or what has happened to me, by being touched wrong. Whatever has happened, God's going to deal with those people as long as you allow God to work on you, and get a relationship with Him. So that's what I had to learn. And so I can't let that stop me from getting to God. Like, foolishness. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
And I know that now. I know that now. But also it was the people, again, I'm living with these people. So these people that I was involved in relationships with, they were not encouraging me. We talked about God. We, definitely poured into each other, but they did not nurture me in that way. They didn't say, I would share my experiences with them and they'll say, instead of saying what you just said and like, they would say, well, that's why I don't go to church either, and this is why, so it really is, our diet is really everything that we do. It's not just what we eat, it's the people that we're around. And so, again, when those relationships ended, I had to tap in. I say, okay, that was the first time that I even really started talking to God. This was probably 5 years ago. I would pray, and things like that. But really trying to connect and understand, I wasn't doing that.
Yeah. And sometimes it takes time because because God was with you all those other times and He was revealing things to you.
Those times.
Trying to let you know I'm here. Come on.
Yes.
Try to get a
saved my life plenty of times.
Yeah.
Got me out of situations plenty of times, and I'm sitting back and I'm like, ooh, okay. Made it through that, going to, but really it was God. It was my mother praying, for me, my dad praying for me that I was making out of those situations. So I definitely can't ever deny that. And now that I know, and then we are the church, and we are gods within ourselves. So you don't have to go to church to have that relationship with God. It helps, but it's a song or something like my mother can't give me, my daddy can't give me, you have to connect with God yourself. And so when you connect with God and you start talking to Him, just like, me and you sitting here talking, I'm like, oh my God, like, okay, what is going on?
But a lot of people don't understand, like, church, like, you should go for fellowship. And, like, it's building you up, like, hearing the testimonies. And also, like, confirmation a lot of times comes from when the preacher is speaking. A lot of times for me, especially, like, every Sunday I go, like, I hear something that I have been dealing with through the week. So, but a lot of times, like, a lot of people refuse to go only because, like, there's nothing wrong with not going if you choose not to go. But a lot of times you fail when you are not in.
Right.
Because a lot of people, like, you can think you're doing it on your own, but like, and then now you're in a bed with somebody, or you're doing this, or you're doing something wrong. But a lot of times, if you are focused on God and, like, wanting to, you don't have to go to church every single day. I'm not saying that, but you need to hear the word that strengthens you. Certain things that you don't know or haven't heard, like, you can hear it. And so I think that a lot of times we miss it when we refuse to just do God's will. Like, the Bible says don't forsake the fellowship, so you should fellowship with others.
Definitely.
But yeah, you don't have to go every day. But,
right. But see, now that I'm better connected, I do sign in now. Since COVID, our Bible study is virtual, so while I'm cleaning, I'm tuned in on Zoom on Bible study. I'm listening to Sarah Jakes. I'm listening to Bishop Bronner in Atlanta. I'm doing all these things.
Yeah.
It's a routine for me now. Instead of watching TV, I'm like, okay, let me turn on YouTube and see if they have any updated videos. Like, you literally constantly have to feed your mind. Because if you don't, you can get distracted. And now everything is so clear to me. When I meet somebody and I can instantly feel, and we've talked about it. I think we talked about this the other night, is that with the social self-care, being around people, and you said it, you was like, you're just so happy, you're just so bright, and it brings, because that's who I am a very loving, caring, nice person at my core, but life experiences took me away from who I really am, and I started to believe that it was wrong for me to, like, what does being nice get me? What does showing love, get me? But in all actuality, now that I walk around and I'm purposely showing, I'm back to, because I'm like, they don't deserve me to be nice. They don't, but now that I purposely go and try to be a light everywhere that I go, it draws people, and it draws the people that I need to move forward and be exactly who I am. I don't think my confidence has always been, I don't know why, I remember looking at my mirror, looking at myself in the mirror. I was like second or third grade, and I just looked at myself and I was like, I don't care if nobody like me. Like, I don't know what made me. I try to think back and be like, what made me go home and say that day? Yeah. But I remember it like it was yesterday. I looked at myself in the mirror and I told myself, I was like, you are you. Yeah. I don't care if I don't have no friends. Yeah. I don't care if don't nobody like me. Whatever. And I made that decision when I was young. So my confidence has always been that. Yeah. But just life experiences took me away from, who I really am at my core. Yeah. So now I'm excited. The light that I have, the brightness that I have, I'm excited because now I'm getting back to who I know I am. Yeah. That I had forgotten who I was, the original me. Yeah. It never left me. It was just life experiences and the people that I had around me.
It just made you have those walls and building up stuff, like, the thorns all around you. So, but you're there.
Yeah. I'm getting there. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So tell us about your mom now, because you told us this story before. So I just wanted them to hear it. The trips that y'all went on and, like, camping.
Yes. Okay. So everybody, when I talk about this, they're like, what? No, I would just had to get a whooping. I would be doing that. So my mother worked with the homeless. She worked for a nonprofit in PG County, Maryland. That's outside of DC. She worked for a nonprofit, and they helped the homeless. I can't remember the name of it. I probably can't even say the name. I don't know. But anyway, so she worked at that nonprofit. And so we would spend a lot of times, like she would have to go around to the shelters during the wintertime. It gets really cold in DC. So during the wintertime, they had like a circuit of churches that would house the homeless for a week. Each church would house the homeless for a week.
Wow.
Okay. So they would sleep overnight. They would give them dinner. They would have to be gone by 7 in the morning. Then they would come back at 7 in the evening. And so we spent a lot of time in shelters, meeting people. And my dad always taught us to never think that we're better than anybody. A lot of people would think that we were, because like I said, he was a pastor, and we had nice things, you know. We lived we weren't rich like some people think that pastors are, you know. They think, but we lived a decent life, you know. Now my dad, he wasn't getting no name brand shoes, name brand food. When all my other friends had Pop-Tarts at school, I think we had the fruit pastries or whatever they was called. You know, I don't remember having actual Kool-Aid until we was in high school. We was getting that flavored ice or whatever it was. But he always, you know, kept us grounded. And anything can be taken away from us. You know, we're blessed to have everything. Be thankful for everything. And so that went hand in hand with my mother. So when we went into the shelters, I never looked at these people as they're beneath me or, you know, anything like that. It was, these are people. This is where they live. That was my first time learning that you can work full time and still be homeless. Things happen, you know. But she even had, there was a family in the shelter that had 3 little boys. And she would even on the weekend bring the boys to our house so that we could play with them, and you know, and they could get out of the shelter, and the parents could have some time to themselves, you know, to figure things out and things like that. So we were never, you know, it was always okay, this is just how people live. But one specific thing that they did every year, and I swear they picked the coldest night of the year to do it, is we would sleep outside with the homeless. Right? I think we only did one night. I think it may have been maybe 2 or 3 nights that they did it, but we only did one night. One night was enough for me, but we did this for maybe like 3 years. And it would just be so cold, and we would just wrap up in our coats and our gloves and our, you know, and our hats and everything. And I don't even think, did we have a tent? I think one time we had a tent or something like that. But that taught me. So first of all, it taught me I gotta keep a roof over my head. No matter what. I am not built to be sleeping outside, you know. But it taught me to be, again, grateful. You know, and I remember my little brother used to say, can we please just go and sit in the car, you know, for 5 minutes just to warm up, you know? And my mom would be like, no, because these people don't have an option to, you know, they're outside. This is what they experience. You crying over, you know, one night. Imagine having to live your whole life outside. So in DC, a lot of people don't know this, but there's a big homeless population. Literally, they show you one side of the White House, but that other side, literally, you have people laying outside on the ground in front of the White House. That is the most craziest things in the White House. Like, you know, they show that, like I said, you see it on TV. But if they were just to bring that camera out a little bit or show another side of the, literally, you had, I'm talking about people sleeping in tents, literally on the ground, begging for food. You had people eating out of trash cans in our nation's capital, you know. So that's always one thing. If I see anybody eating out of trash, I don't see it a lot here in Birmingham. I have seen it. And I have to stop. I can't, that does something to me. I can't watch somebody digging through the trash trying to see, you know, we have extra food. If I have, you know, it just teaches you that things. And then even myself, you know, due to life situations, I've never been homeless, but I've had to rely on other people. I've had to sleep on people's floors, me and my son. I've had to sleep on people's couches. You know, I've had to ask for help. But, you know, and I'm forever grateful to anybody that did that. But, I mean, life can happen to anybody. To anybody. And so it just taught me to be grateful, you know, and I think that allows me to move a bit differently.
And that's why you want
a lot of people.
Blessing to others.
Yeah, because we all need each other.
Yeah.
You know, we all need each other. That's what we're here for. You know, if you've ever been in a line, like you said, and you might be dealing with something, and you in the line, you're like, oh, this line is long, and you start talking to somebody in the line, and they say something to you, and you like, dang, I needed to hear that. You know, and you ain't never seen this person. You'll never see them again. Those are people that are put in your path. You know, recently when we were in, I'm not going to, go into detail, of course, but in the situation where we were at the graduation a couple weeks ago, and with the young lady just walking through the room. And in that moment, we were all supposed to be there. She was supposed to be there so that we could have that conversation and so that we could, minister to her, be there for her, encourage her. We'll probably never see her again. We want to, we hope to, but we'll probably, and she'll take that experience. And so a lot of times I ask myself, and I have asked myself, and I continue to ask myself and say, why am I going through this? Like, I was just in situations in my life where I'm like, why am I going through this? Like, why me? Like, even when I was like, okay, you know what? God's trying to tell me something. Let me go ahead and get my life together. Let me, you know what I'm saying? And then 2 months, I'm like, okay, God, like, you see me trying, why is this happening to me? Right? Like, I'm learning, like, what they say, I don't want to be the strongest soldier. Like, it was to a point, I started reading the book of Job because I was like, what did he have to do to get out of this situation? What did he have to do? What was it like? I got to learn from somebody, and then I literally lost everything. But now I know that I had to go through those situations because somebody else needs to hear. See, I had my son when I was 19. A lot of my friends, they went to school. They didn't. So I didn't have anybody to relate to me and keep it real with me and be able to relate. Even I had to tell my mother one time, and she was trying to tell me, I said, you don't know what it's like to live on your own and take care of everything by yourself. You went from your parents' house to college to being married, and you've been married, and your husband, you don't have to worry about anything. You never had to raise your kids on your own. Mothers, we take on a bulk of the responsibility, but she never had that experience. So you can't really tell me what I should do in this situation because you literally have not been. You can tell me as a mother, but you don't know what it's like to have a man manipulating your mind, and have you thinking you're going crazy and, all of these things because you got good sense. But he is so good at what he does that he's like, no, this is, and she's never, thank God she never had to deal with that. But at the same time, my mother has had to deal with some things that I've never had to deal with, so it's just, you get to, I realized that I had to go through all of that. So that now that I'm at this point in my life, somebody else needs to hear. And I want to, that's why when you reached out to me, I was excited because I'm like, I keep getting signs to tell my story, tell my story. And I have a story for anything, whatever game it is, if somebody throw a word out and you tell a story about that or something, or you give some type of, that's me. You can throw any word out and I got a story for it. And people need to hear that, and so that's the stage that I'm in now, is to tell my story because there's somebody out there in it maybe a similar or the exact situation that can look at me, and I often say I'm not the example because please, I would never influence anybody to do the things that I went through, purposely, and things that were out of my control that I just that I was able to handle. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. I don't suggest that to anybody. I'm a risk taker. A lot of people are not going to do the things that I do and will do, and but I am the inspiration because you can see that I made it through. You can see that there's something to the other side of that. You can see that, okay, she has gone through this. A lot of people that I grew up with, a lot of people that I work with, a lot of people that I've been friends with that have been in my home still did not know truly my story. And so I'm even introducing myself to them. It's like a rebirth almost that I'm experiencing at this point in my life. So that again gives me excitement and brings me back to, purpose.
Yeah.
You know, Sarah Jakes, I saw a clip the other day, and she said, you know, a lot of people walk around trying to find their purpose, but you are the purpose. Everywhere you go, every interaction that you have is purposeful. You know, even if it's I've learned things from bad situations, from bad interactions, from, you know, I've learned major lessons, you know, that a lot of people, you know, it's just, and a lot of people, I think that we're in a generation where we're more open. See, a lot of, you know, like when I talk about my mother's, you know, generation and stuff, they were quiet about a lot of things that they went through. We're more vocal, you know, and I think that being vocal helps. It helps, you know, especially with women. It helps other people to know that, okay, dang, she went through, and when you look at me, you wouldn't believe. I can't even believe it. I went through some of the stuff that I did. So when people, you know, they'll be like, "Hey, for real," you know, and I'm very relatable like that. I can be in a boardroom or I can be on the street, you know, and I can relate to people because, again, I have so many life experiences. So that's what makes me unique. Yeah.
So you got all heavy and stuff. So let's talk about beauty. So, like, you know, do you wear a lot of makeup? Like, how do you do what you do? Like, you know, enhancing your beauty, or like, you know, how do you feel about it?
I'm glad you said enhance because that's one thing that my mother always taught me. Now, my mother did not teach me how to. I was a tomboy type. Like, and I still am. Depends on what day you catch me. I'm leggings, t-shirts, sneakers, you know, all day. But like I have lipstick on now, but that's it. Well, and I feel my brows in. but that's it. I don't do foundation because my skin is so sensitive. So about I would say maybe 9 or 10 years ago, I decided to only use organic products on my skin. Right. So I don't use lotion anymore. I use oils. All my soaps are 100% organic, whether they're handmade, whether I go and I read the label in the stores, you know, and things like that. Shampoos, skincare. That is like my biggest investment in 24. I was like, okay, I'm going to look in my closet. And I'm not going to buy any more scrubs, no more soaps, no more nothing until I have used what I have. Because, I mean, I can go shopping in my closet, okay? So, but yeah, so I went natural. I started putting relaxers in my hair. I was natural for 8 years. I've had my locks almost 3 years now. Started paying attention more to the food that I was eating. And so that is what keeps me without having to, you know, because in makeup, I was saying is that my mother told me makeup is to enhance, not create. You should still look like yourself. People should still be able to recognize when you wear makeup. I just never, and you know what's funny? I get on YouTube and TikTok and all that, and I watch people do their makeup. Like, it's amazing to me what they like. It's really truly an art. One of my best friends always did hair and makeup and everything. It's amazing what she can do. You know, she still she does it in a way where she still looks natural, you know, and everything. But I just don't have the patience to sit down in front of a mirror. And I do wear lashes. I was gonna put some on today, but I was like, I don't feel like it. You know, I'm not. Some women feel like they can't even leave the house without putting a full face on, and I'm not one of those women. They look beautiful, you know. Some of them it might be a little excessive, but that's them, you know. But I just never been one of those. But I love watching. I love watching people do makeup and the transformation and everything. I love it. But I'm not a makeup girly. And so, but I will spend like I said, scrubs. Handmade soaps, you know, things like that. Every week, so I'll go and I'll get a professional facial. But in between there, I have everything in my home to do a facial at home. I have my mask and my serums and, you know, all of that. I have a basic routine. You know, I use exfoliator glove on my face when I wash my face. I have a serum, you know, that I put on that keeps the moisture in. You know, I have a skincare routine. But makeup, blush, eyeshadow. I don't even know the difference between foundation and concealer, honestly. Like, I people get to talk about that, and it's interesting, like I said. But I've had my makeup professionally done, things like that for events. Yeah. But by the end of the night, I'm at home with my face closed. Yeah. And I'm scrubbing it all because I just feel like I can't, like my skin can't breathe. Yeah. But regardless of whether you do makeup or whatever, what we put into our bodies is more, it plays more of a role. For about 2 or 3 years, I didn't wear deodorant because I was eating clean. Yeah. I wasn't putting certain things into my body. Yeah. So I could go without wearing deodorant. And people be like, you don't wear deodorant. And I'd be like, and you can't tell that I don't wear deodorant, right? Because most times when people not wearing deodorant, you can tell they not wearing deodorant. So, but it's more important to eat, right? And it's hard for me to convey that because I am overweight, but I am perfectly healthy. Like I have no health issues. Okay. Thank God, Yeah. But a lot of people be like, you talking about, eating healthy, because people just don't put 2 and 2 together. You have people that are skinny, and they're unhealthy. Yeah. They got all types of health issues, heart issues and diabetes and all of that. But you think that they're healthy because of their size. So I try to preach that, and say, like, I'm perfectly healthy. I watch 600 Pound Life when they go to see Dr. Now. And Dr. Now be like, well, you have no health issues. You just 600-700 pounds, So I think that it's important what we put into our bodies, I stopped drinking cow's milk, just little things that you can be mindful of. Yeah. And I mean, Lizzo is vegan, been vegan. Yeah. Your size doesn't determine how healthy you are, And so, but that's what I do. I focus on, drinking water. Drinking water. A lot of people don't even drink water. They be like, water is nasty. I drink my water. Yeah. I get my sleep. I will go to sleep. Yeah. I don't care how stressed I am. The more stressed I am, I'm gonna go to sleep. Yeah. I'm not gonna play around with that. Mm-hmm. And just again, being happy. Okay. All of those things make you glow from the outside, like when we, when somebody get into a new relationship, you're like, oh girl, you glowing, because it's really an inside job. Nobody else can make you happy, and that's another thing that I had to realize in my relationship. Nobody else can make you happy. Everything starts from within. Yeah. What you eat, what you think, what you watch, what you, and that's what makes people beautiful. Okay. Yeah. So we're gonna close out, but give like a word of encouragement or some positivity to someone. Keep going. Keep going. And I'm saying that to myself too. Yeah. But keep going. Life is about ups and downs. Things will happen. Make sure you have the right people around you, behind you, beside you. And keep going. You'll get to the other side. It does get better. And it sometimes when, things happen, life happens. Mm-hmm. Life be life. Yeah. But just keep going. Yeah. Keep going, that's all I can say. Mm-hmm. Whatever you're doing. Don't stop. I think somebody said if you're going through hell, why would you stop? Mm-hmm. Keep going until you get to the other side. The right side of hell. Yeah. Yeah. So if you're going through something and you feel like you just keep going, do what you can, because sometimes you can't control what happens. Yeah. You can't control people or things. So keep going. Thank you all for tuning in. Again, this is Shari Seawright, and she will have information in the description box just in case you want to hire her for something. She has many jobs. All right. See you next time. Bye.